Right. So, John, welcome this morning to the interview.
Thank you.
We'll just talk on the departures of Kat Clarke and Amy Pashley, who have obviously decided to retire. Can you just give me your managerial thoughts on them?
Yeah, first of all, nothing but good things to say about the pair of them. They were both sort of ever presence in my team when I joined the club 2 years ago. To both of them privately, if you're going to start something successful at a football club, you need the foundations to be laid. And they were very, well, massive part of that really being the club captain and the captain respectively. So they've given grace, and I think what's quite refreshing is they've put the club before themselves. They realise where we want to take the club this year. They both work very, very hard externally away from the club. They live a bit away as well in terms, particularly Kat, she lives quite a bit away. And obviously Pash has a job where she travels quite a lot. So I think it's quite refreshing to see that they've actually put the club first, and they've actually sort of been honest with me and said, with what we're trying to achieve with our ambition and the way we're trying to sort of take it up a level, they don't feel that they can fully commit. And they're very professional in that if they don't feel they can give that 110% week in, week out, then obviously what is best for them is to obviously call it a day. They've had a great career, the pair of them, not just at Long Eaton, but obviously at other clubs as well. And I just think they feel that they've done their bit for the club and they feel the time is right. They go away with, well, it's all been done very amicably. They'll be welcome at the club at any time, and it's the pair of them have nothing but respect for them.
You spoke just obviously about them off the pitch, but just on the pitch, what were the two players like? I know I've seen Kat before after heroics in the semi-final when she played in net
Yeah.
against Chesterfield, but just touch up on what they was actually like on the pitch.
Well, with Kat, bless her, she has sort of had to wear two hats. Really, she was very well more than responsible for keeping our club afloat in terms of the finances. So she had to juggle that with playing as well, and I think that's very hard to do when you have a secretarial role alongside a player role. Natural leader, very very good game understanding. Totally understood my philosophy and how that was sort of transferred to the players, and just very professional. I can't speak highly of the professionalism that she brought in the dressing room. Like I said, very much with me, it's important that when you have leaders on the pitch, they're with the manager 110%, so it sends the same message to the players. So with Kat, she certainly gave us that. And like I said, she was happy to do more than one role in the pitch, which was great. Pash, I knew a lot about previously. It was quite interesting, really. We've been heavily involved with Derby County ladies, but our paths never actually crossed. We knew each other. So working with Pash was great for me personally over the last 2 years. Like I said, again, wears a heart on her sleeve. I think if you cut her, it would bleed blue. So yeah, very, very good in terms of that. She cared, very passionate about what she wanted to do on the pitch. And again, she bought into the journey that we're trying to go on, really. And I think, again, I can't speak highly enough of her. And I think between her and Kat, they gave a great leadership quality to the dressing room. And I know they will be massively missed, and it'll sort of be big shoes to fill going forward. But that's what management's about. That's what building's about. And it's something we have to do.
I know after speaking to Lauren yesterday, she said that it was a bit of a shock and a surprise. Did you have the similar feeling, or was you expecting something?
I'm going to be very honest with you, Jack. Obviously, I communicate quite a lot with my players. So for their messages to be seen by the players, yes, it would have been shocking for them to see that. But I have been in close contact during obviously the lockdown, obviously with pre-season. I do speak to my players a lot away from the football. So I certainly was expecting it. It was, I will say, it was decisions that weren't taken lightly. So they went away and had a really sort of good think about it. And as I've said, I think what's tough is that when you are trying to build something and take something forward, players have to sort of be 150% committed. And I think, like I said, what was very refreshing is they didn't feel with their lives and obviously the journey we were on, they could commit to that. So it certainly wasn't a shock or a surprise. I was obviously sad to see them go, no doubt about it, because like I said, we got on great. But again, you prepare for these things as a manager, so we have done that.
Yeah, and then obviously with two departures, we could call it three new signings, as you've brought Jordan Atkin, Shanae Thomas, and also Annie Taylor has signed a permanent deal at the club. What was your thought process with bringing them to the football club?
Again, it's players we've tracked for a long time. We'll go with Annie first. She joined us on a short-term deal from Leicester City. Last year, we were ravaged by injuries and player unavailability, so we felt we had to do something quite quick. So we were very, very grateful to Jonathan Morgan and Leicester City, and obviously having Jake Poole join from Leicester made that transition very easily. So it was a player that was brought to my attention that we sort of needed at the time. And in a very, very short space of time, she demonstrated a professionalism that I look for in a player. Attention to detail in terms of pre-game, post-match, very high and very professional. She shares our ambition of where we want to take the football club. And I think she saw that in a very short space of time. Unfortunately, she didn't get to finish the season. It was very clear that the sort of intent we had with the football club taking that forward. So she bought into that, and I'm absolutely delighted that she has committed. She'll be a massive, massive part for us into the campaign this year. And again, I'm very delighted that she's decided to stay with us permanently. Shanae Thomas is a girl that I sort of knew that was on my radar at Derby. I was the first team manager at Derby, and you obviously hear of youngsters in the youth teams, and her name regularly popped up in terms of she's going to be a big player in the future. And conversations I've had with Shay is I don't feel that she's had that opportunity at first team level to flourish. She's been at Notts County development team. She's been at Leicester United, sort of in and out of the team there. Leicester City as well. So she sort of flirted in terms of trying to get to that next level. But I think joining us, it gives her the perfect opportunity to cement first team place. Again, very driven, very professional, and I think it's going to be a perfect fit with what I know she can bring, and obviously what her ambition is. Jordan Atkin, again, is another player that we knew of at Burton Albion. I think a lot of my sort of research when we used to play Burton Albion is if you stop Jordan Atkin playing, the deck of cards would fall, so to speak. She was a massive, massive player for Burton Albion. And then she went on to play for Forest last year. So again, it's a player we've tracked, and again, a player that we feel could be a massive, massive signing for us. So we're looking forward to getting them announced this week. And I think it's, again, a great starting block in terms of our recruitment for the coming year.
So what positions are the players that you have brought in?
So Annie Taylor will play in the heart of the midfield. So she'll play in a holding role in midfield. So again, sort of pull the strings from the middle of the park. Jordan Atkin can play anywhere across the front three, very attacking-minded player, as to is Shanae. Shanae's quite versatile, though. She can do different roles, different positions, but predominantly with Jordan and Shanae, they are attacking players, and Annie Taylor's a holding midfield player.
Obviously, with the 3 new signings, have you had any more contact with any new players? Have you got any ideas to bring any more to the football club?
Well, I think just touching on that, I think one thing that's we made a lot of signings during the season, if you like. So, for example, we signed a girl called Jess Munn from Notts County. She joined us sort of just before the lockdown started. So again, similar to Annie, she played 2 games for us. So with her, she's like a new signing as well. She played in the number 9 role, gave us a different dimension. So again, she's another, like a new signing really. We had a few players that had long-term injuries, the likes of Kirsty Allen, who was on loan from Derby. When she plays, you know what she can do, but she was ravaged by injuries quite a lot, so she'll be like a new signing. So we've been building really as the season's gone on. I'm not one of them managers that will just sort of sign players at pre-season and then stand still. I'm constantly monitoring, I'm constantly looking during the season. And that's why we were able to bring new players in during mid-season. So we're always looking to build that. So I feel that with the squad we've assembled, we've got quite a fresh feel. And I feel that obviously we've got the 3 that have come in, but I feel quite a few feel like new signings, obviously with the lockdown happening.
And obviously, I will talk on your plans for the season now. Lockdown has surely put a hold on to many teams' plans, but just for yourself, how has it actually affected your plans in obviously telling the players what you do want from them this season?
I'll be honest, we've been in regular contact with our staff. We've handled it extremely well. I think the players have been an absolute credit to themselves. We've sent them over pre-season plans to do. Now, a lot of that, you trust in the players. You can't hold their hands because they're all adults, they're all open age footballers. So you can't check on them as if they were at training. So they've been brilliant in sending that data into Jake, who's masterminded in terms of getting that data out, in terms of what he's looking for with the players. So the players have been absolutely magnificent. I can't speak any highly of their conduct and attitude, because obviously what you've got to remember, this isn't their full-time job. They've probably gone through the furlough. They've probably gone through being laid off work. They've probably been told they can't go to work. So there's been a lot of uncertainty, as probably the nation have felt around that. So I think the way they've handled themselves has been impeccable, and I've been very proud to sort of be the manager around that in terms of how they have handled that, and it's been very pleasing. The staff, likewise, they've always been on the end of the phone, very keen to get back, as you probably can imagine. But I think one thing I've sort of stressed to the staff and the players, that we don't need to rush things. We're very organised. That's one thing we set out very early when this lockdown happened, is we got ourselves organised off the pitch. We made sure the club was safeguarded, which our chairman's done a magnificent job of doing, getting the facilities and the club ready. We don't have a budget, we don't pay out, so we're not irresponsible. We manage our finances very well. And so we've been able to safeguard the club first and foremost. And then, like I said, just keeping the players ticking over, keeping the staff ticking over, and obviously doing my role in terms of getting the squad ready, having conversations with players. So it's been a very good process in terms of that. And I think now, really, I think if somebody was to wave a magic wand and say, you can start pre-season tomorrow, I'd feel very confident we'd have everything in place to do that. So we've been very lucky in that respect.
So obviously, when you do come back, what is your plans for this season?
So obviously, first of all, we'll have to follow certain guidelines of what we can and can't do in training. So we, again, as staff, we can deal with that. We're obviously getting advice from the FA all the time. I think for me, Jack, I'm very ambitious. I want this club to be in the Premier League. It's no secret that when I left, I dropped down a league to do that because I saw the ambition of the club at Long Eaton. I think one thing we're very, very fortunate to have is a lot of female clubs rely on external grounds where they're dictated to when they can and can't play. Because obviously it's a lot of semi-pro grounds, but obviously with us being Long Eaton, we fall under that banner. So we have the facilities, we've got the training ground, we've got the pitch, we've got the infrastructure, the staff, the players. I'm just absolutely desperate to get them into that Premier League because with the greatest respect, I want to be obviously welcoming teams like Derby, Forest and West Brom on a regular basis to our ground, which I think it deserves. Now, the challenge with that is only one team goes up. Obviously, Wolves should have won the league last year, but obviously that didn't happen. So it's going to be a massive challenge. And there's going to be no bold predictions in terms of winning the league or anything like that. We've just got to take one game at a time.
Brilliant. Well, that concludes that. So thank you for that, John.
No problem.